Hi everyone, it's Leah Leaves here, and a big happy new year. It's New Year's Day here, and as you can see, I'm kind of in a cozy jumper because we're having a lovely cozy family day today, which I'm really enjoying. But I wanted to pop on and not only wish you all a really happy new year, but also to talk today about myth number 8 of my 12 myths of ADHD that I've been doing over the 12 days of Christmas. Today's myth number 8, and that's that all people with ADHD are diagnosed when they're a child. And I'm a prime example that this is absolutely not true. I'm 43 years old and I was diagnosed at 43. So earlier this year, not long after my 43rd birthday, I was diagnosed with ADHD, the inattentive type, and autism too. And it's no surprise really for me, someone in my age group, that I wasn't diagnosed as a child. Um, when I was a child, actually, ADHD wasn't something that was diagnosed in very many people at all. So there were an awful lot of children in my age group that were not diagnosed as children, who have potentially ended up being diagnosed as adults, but actually maybe not, because in the UK there's estimated to be about 1.5 million adults with ADHD, but actually there's only about 120,000 adults that are actually diagnosed with ADHD. And until 2008, ADHD in adults wasn't really seen as a thing. It was understood that children with ADHD would generally grow out of it. And it was really seen that, it was quite unusual for anybody with ADHD as a child to grow into it as an adult, or to keep it as an adult. But now we know that that's not true. And most ADHD experts will agree that, because ADHD is a fundamental developmental difference in the brain. In other words, it's something that you're born with, it's a difference in the brain. And yes, our brains are what we call plastic, which means that we can change and improve certain areas of our brain, but actually fundamentally that doesn't change. So people with ADHD, diagnosed or not as children, will tend to just find different ways of managing, of coping with the impact of the condition. And I know that that's absolutely been the case for me. I've always been a bit of a determined little type of person. I've always kind of been quite driven. But actually, my ability to succeed and do the things that I've wanted to do has always been massively impacted. In terms of kind of getting stuff done, I can lose count of the number of to-do lists that I've made and then lost, or just never looked at. The number of kind of apps and organisation type things. I've done the Marie Kondo, I've done all those sorts of things, but actually maintaining those things has been very, very difficult for me over the years. My ability to kind of concentrate, my desire to kind of, to do lots of different things, interesting things, my wanting to have new things, inability to make really good decisions around money because my interest is overruling the priority of actually keeping my finances in order. So many things that have been present in me over the years that actually haven't been recognised as ADHD. And I look at my school years, I was always the person who forgot to bring, I spent hours doing my homework, hyper focusing on it, doing a brilliant, brilliant job, at least on the ones that I was interested in, and then forget to bring it in, or forget the vital ingredient for my home ec, recipe that I was going to make. Or I would be desperately trying to listen to this really important lesson on something I knew I was going to be tested on, and yet my brain would be bouncing around and being distracted by the buzzing over in the corner that some kind of machinery was making, or the fact that the light was flickering through the window. But of course, those kinds of things aren't disruptive, and therefore they're not picked up on necessarily by teachers. So what do you do? What do you do if you think you're an adult with ADHD that wasn't diagnosed as a child? If you recognise those kind of symptoms of, hyperactivity, of having an interest-based brain, of not being able to kind of very easily organise and focus yourself? Well, the first thing to do is go along and visit your GP. There are some GPs that are really, and some areas in the UK that are very, very my brain wants to say up on, I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but very knowledgeable and understanding of adult ADHD. So your GP is the first port of call, and actually whether they're up on ADHD or not, they do have a duty of care towards you, and if you want to be referred for an assessment, then they have to help you to make that happen in one way or another. So your GP is the first port of call. If you aren't able to get any help there are various private services for diagnosis. I'm not here to recommend the right one, but certainly I was diagnosed privately, and I'm really glad that I did that, because knowing for me has really helped. It's helped me access understanding, it's helped me access services. But if you're not able to get a diagnosis and you are struggling with the symptoms of ADHD, or even just, being overwhelmed, or finding that you're struggling to organise yourself or get yourself focused on the things you need to do, even if you don't think that you have adult ADHD, and you want some help kind of getting your brain working to its optimum, to be working alongside you, then please do get in touch with me. This is what I do, really. I can't change whether someone's got ADHD. I don't diagnose whether somebody's got ADHD, but I really do get what it's like to have a brain that's kind of got massive potential, but just can't can't focus, can't do what it needs to do. And that's where the work that I do really helps. I don't need to be an expert in you. I don't need to know whether you've got ADHD or not. What I do know is I do understand how the brain works, ADHD or otherwise, and I know how ADHD impacts that. And so I can help you to get your brain working with you. And the best place to start with that is an assessment consultation. Now, an assessment consultation gives me the opportunity to find out the information that I need to create a plan to best help you, and for you to explain to me what's important to you, what it is that you want to change, what your preferred outcome is, and ask any questions that you have about the process, about working with me, or anything else. And so that I can create this plan for you and explain to you not only exactly what the plan will entail and what to expect, but also why that plan is going to be what it is, so that you can really understand and make that informed decision. But you don't need to know in advance if it's going to work for you. I want to take that risk, that responsibility for you, and so I offer a money back guarantee, which means that if for any reason you don't feel, you get to the end of that session, you feel working with Leah is not right for me, for whatever reason, or in fact if I feel like I can't help or can't work with you for some reason, then any money that you've paid for that assessment consultation is refunded completely. And actually at the moment, if you head over onto Instagram, and I will pop the details here on the video, if you head over onto my Instagram, I'm running a giveaway where you can actually win the assessment for free anyway, whether or not you decide to go ahead onto further sessions. So it's a really good opportunity to get that for yourself. Really straightforward competition. I say competition giveaway, where you just need to like and share. So if you want that opportunity, definitely dive over there before the 5th of January. So the 5th of January 2020 is the closing day at midnight. So I feel like I've spoken enough. My brain's feeling a bit frazzled now, so I'm going to head off now and get back to the family. I hope you have a fantastic day today, and that it's the beginning of not only a wonderful new year, but a fantastic decade for you. And if you want to get in touch, please either do so on the comments below or get in touch with me on the website, and I'd be really happy to meet you. So have a fantastic day. I'll see you tomorrow for myth number 9.